Hello, I'm reading today from my chapbook, The Garden of Persuasions, which came out from Jacar Press. Filial Piety Canon. All my mothers are here in their best dresses, mother, grandmothers, great-grandmothers. Of the men, only my father posed with cigarette in hand and my grandfather on the sofa. They look from their frames past one another and toward me in this room like saints in a sacra conversazione, their smiles solemn and uncertain, as if they knew already that they must, in the here and now of these photographs, bridge great distances, continents, generations, keep us whole somehow as we move far and further from them, that it will take years, maybe lifetimes of forgetting before their work is over. First to go their voices and ways of moving, then birthdays, death days, and all the emblems by which we once knew them. The titles of these poems are all taken from ancient Chinese texts. It came from a book that I was copy editing at the time, and the titles were so evocative that I thought I would be able to use them and maybe springboard from them into spaces of my own. Compilation of bamboo strips and wooden slips. Two girls sit together on a sofa, feet up on the coffee table. They are knitting, plain and pearl, pearl and plain, from one end of the row to another, while their conversation flickers like the fire chuckling in the fireplace. With small, deliberate stitches looping one thread over and under, each composes for herself a kind of quiet. Logs shifting and falling into sparks, the click of needles, which she may remember years hence, what it was to be sisters, in winter, in their mother's house. I have left some things out of this picture, as the dark and cold are excluded from the room, but make the fire and lamplight brighter. The Garden of Persuasions. Here's sorrel and chickweed, moss, bluets, onion glass, yellow-flowered cinquefoil, the rhetoric of petals and leaves, their arguments as manifold as ours, as stemmed and rooted. Shall I concede to them? They seem harmless, a gift from some time before Eden, and need no tending, a welcome after winter, a surprise in neglected corners of the garden, though these are not their purposes. Their speech is quieter than ours, and slow. It can take years for one to make its point, to seed or spread by root or spore or runner, to crowd or shade out competitors. A garden cultivating itself. Discussions about stone. As if we don't have enough already of this Piedmont bedrock laid down and down again, heaved and shattered, the ridges and terraces, boulders. Try setting seed, try rooting, try a burrow or tunnel, then wallstone and millstone and foundation. A history of people writ hard, crusher-run gravels, chips that grind and talk that aren't from these parts, waterstones, shingle, river pebbles that hold the last of the light. Each one its own story and comment, and like the tablets of jade that the emperors bore in caravans to speak for the ancestors. Analyses of a hermit. The radical of tree at all angles, snag, stump, up-ended root ball, sagging branch, vagaries of creeper and vine. Sometimes I think I can read them, even the exotics, the Chinese privets, Japanese stilt grass and honeysuckle. A wood between floodplain and an old field, logged over of little value, something to walk or run through, though once in a while something stops me short. Raggedy twigs of winged elm, redbud, crownbeard in leaf and bloom, and it seems The wood is parsing me and will let me in if I stay long. There's so much to see just in our own neighbourhood. This one is called Extended Reflections. Here at this season they are intermittent and monochromatic, rimmed, grey-brown smudges, graffiti. And below these, sky, a body of water, a gate, however small or deep, it opens. Puddles in the street, in the field, come and go. Roadside ditches fill and drain. The trees withhold what leaves and flowers, what dead twigs and branches, their secret. Cast a line upon the waters. Let the trees waver and shudder. They will recompose. Forest of the Changes. See how the leaves, or the shadows of the leaves, sift and flounce all over the desk, how they refocus the eye, as when you look at stones through water and then at water. Each year the shade deepens, the hickory leans further into the light over the roof. The forest wants in, wants back. Here's the yellow-bellied sapsucker drilling out a knot in the siding. Wasps, wrens, dune bugs, possums, once a copperhead sleeping among the leaves at the base of the steps. And we thought it was ours for the taking, by the old law of finders keepers, each fence post and felled tree, lien and affidavit. Exemplary statements with meanings and annotations. After the snow melted, suddenly it was blossom and maple bud, exuberance, a flotilla of robins working the lawn. We sat contemplating just this and our place in it. Then, bang! What? Against the window glass something, and there on the boards a grey titmouse trembled, head at an awkward angle, wings drawn in, a bead of blood leaking from its beak. To be flying in that blue, and then suddenly to be going, we say, as if there was some place to go to, and then gone. A treatise on human talents, for my mother. A quilt half made by my mother, raw edges and paper templates still in place. A lozenge, a strip, a patch of stitched patches, sweet multicoloured hexagons, honeycomb of dreams, a hex for her daughter against heartbreak and witchery. And it worked, more or less, it did, for it is, still here. Here's one piece to cover my head, another to wrap my shoulders, and some to hold in my hands, in her hands. We used that half-made quilt to wrap my sister's body in when we buried her. Quick mastery of the characters. So many of these titles are ironic. Just one lifetime to learn to sit and hold the brush, and another to dip it in the ink and paint a straight line, a hook, a dab. Each sheet of paper a map of the world, latitudes of practice, longitudes of meaning and its emptiness. The thread of a voice and attention will stitch the slips into a story. Thin leaves of tea uncurling in hot water, shreds of cut grass on a child's shoes. Thank you.